This is the Scanner Man Cyber Project. Alright, so look, this is how this works. We have import socket and import address. This imports modules from the Python library, so it allows me to manipulate IP addresses and get sockets. So this is the main one, the main file where I have all my functions, my declarations, I think it's called, is here, and then I have my functions in this one. So in this one, we have from utils import scan TCP. So basically this line is importing the definitions, importing the functions from this file, so I can use them in here to make it look more clean. And then this is setting a default timeout, so basically we don't get hung on scanning a port that's not responding for a long time. This just times out after a certain amount of time. So let's go over the functions first. Here we have the TCP scan, so it takes a starting IP and an ending IP from the user, and then we have this first for loop. It says for IP in range, and then we have 2 IPs. So how this works is the starting IP, let's say I input 192.168.1.1, right, for starting, and then the ending would be the same thing, besides the ending would be 120. Okay, so it takes those 2 IPs, but since it takes them, it takes them as a IPv4 address. See, starting IP equals, so it stores it in here. So it says enter your starting IP. We enter it, stores in an IPS, and then it takes the string that we entered, because that's how it stores it, as a string, and then it turns it to an IPv4 address and stores it in the starting IP. So to use it in the for loop, it needs to be an integer. So right here, starting IP is an integer. It's like 327771 or something. That's the only way you can iterate over it with the +1. So it iterates over this starting IP 3277 and then +1 3278, etc. And it goes through all the IPs in the range. And then it does the same, not the same, but it does it with the port. This is easier because we have numbers instead of a string. Instead of IPv4 address that we have to cast as an integer first. So we could just put the numbers we want and ask them enter, or not even enter. Over here, this, they don't do anything with this. We decide this. So they give us addresses, and then we decide their range. So then it goes to the each port of 1 to 23. So this part right here is needed for target connect, and I'll explain right now. So after we go through the list of IPs starting and ending, and so we get the first IP 192.168.1.111, and we have it right, and then we have the first port, which is port 1. So we're going to try this. We're going to connect. So this, we're going to create a socket. So target is just declaring basically where we want to connect and how. So target equals, we have to use socket and socket period in order to use any functions from the socket module. So socket dot, and then create a socket. And the parameters, I wonder if it tells me, right there, create a new socket object. So this socket.af.inet means it's an IPv4 address. To have an IPv6, it's AF underscore something else, I forgot, but this just specifies it's IPv4. This specifies it's a TCP connection. So socket.sockstream. So let's get the target is a IPv4 address with a TCP connection. So we're gonna target.connect, and we're gonna get the IP address and the port. So over here we have IP string, and you know how earlier we set the starting IP as a integer. Now we have to bring it back to a string. So we take IP, which is here. It has the first IP we stored. Put it as the IPv4 address, and then as a string address. So we can use it down here because target.connect is looking for a string and an int. So we have a tuple, and a tuple means double parentheses. So this is as one argument, not two. Anyways, so now we connected with IPv4 address and TCP string, and then now we have the first IP and the first port, and this just prints out the IP, the port, if it's open or closed. This is pretty basic. So that's how it works. Now, don't know, probably have to comment out stuff, yeah. Let me see. So it's going through the first IP we gave it, and it's going through 1 to 22 ports, and then it's all gonna come in at once. When this ends, it's gonna scan through all the ports and the IPs, and just wait for it. So look, 250.250.49, all of them. It looks like they're all closed. But yeah, to scan all the ports. So this program scanned all the IP addresses and the ports 1 to 22.